Hi there! It's been a while since my last video, but as you can see, this one is going to be quite different, mostly because, well, I'm actually in it. I've been sitting on this video for almost 3 months, struggling with the idea of showing my face like this, but I just had to. I wanted to talk to you directly about animation and music. I mentioned 3 months, and if you have a good memory for dates, you'll know that 3 months ago the Chainsaw Man movie was released. Today, I want to talk about the composer behind that film, Kensuke Ushio. Born in Tokyo on March 1st, 1983, Ushio's first approach to music was with the piano and classical music. But as soon as he grew up, he fell in love with electronic music and techno. The first encounter that changed his life was at the set of Kensuke Ushio, legendary techno artist and member of Denki Groove. After the show, Ushio wanted to meet Ushio asking for tips and guidance, but surprisingly, that day was his lucky day. Ushio needed a new assistant on his team, so he offered Ushio to work with as a sound engineer, producer, and a live support. Ushio accepted, and that moment changed his life. Ushio became a true mentor, nurturing Ushio's creativity, and when he decided to create his own music alias, Ushio helped him, and in 2008 produced Ushio's debut album, A Day Faces, released on a Plastic label with his new artist name, Agraph. The name comes from graphic, because Ushio composes by imagining visuals. I found the rumor he wanted to call himself Graphic, but Ushio didn't, and said it was too pretentious. So they stripped away the letters and landed on Agraph. Soon after, Ushio co-founded the supergroup Llama with Koji Nakamura and Miki Furukawa. It's with the new formation that Ushio gets his first work in the animation industry. Thanks to their talent, Llama got the opportunity to write the ending song theme for Ungo, produced by Studio Bones. Not only that, but Narasaki, the main composer, invited Ushio to contribute on several additional tracks, giving to him this sort of double role as a member of Llama for the ending and a support composer for the main soundtrack. Before we move forward, we need to talk about influences. Ushio is deeply shaped by UK electronic culture, New Order, The Police, Talking Heads, The Chemical Brothers, The Prodigy, John Hopkins, Fatboy Slim, Brian Eno, Underworld and Aphex Twin. He once said that Drugs is the one album he would keep forever, and tracks like Stall defined his adolescence. British techno for him was not just music, it was a subculture, and after performing as the opening act at the Underworld Live in 2010, he was told keep on techno by the band, and he did for sure. As for anime, he loves Legend of the Galactic Heroes, Neo Genesis Evangelion and Erazard. And just to prove his taste goes beyond music, he once said his dream collaboration would be with Xavier Dolan. I would say an impeccable taste. Now, let's talk about his work. The year 2014 is the one to pin in our timeline. Ushio made a terrific debut as an anime composer with Space Dandy and especially Ping Pong the Animation, directed by Masaaki Yuasa. Wonderful anime, Ping Pong became a cult classic, not just visually but sonically. Ushio blended organic elements, even sampling the sound of ping pong balls themselves. The music feels physical, rhythmic, alive. In 2016, he composed the soundtrack for A Silent Voice, his first feature film, and the beginning of a long, beautiful collaboration with the director Naoko Yamada. For this film, Ushio chose to represent the inner world of Shoko, a deaf girl, and Ishida isolation, sampling the internal mechanical sounds of an upright piano. Hammer clicks, pedal noises, vibrations, treated not as imperfections, but as a music itself, like the white noise of a hearing aid. The result is devastating, one of the most beautiful, painful films of recent years. Honestly, a film that should be shown in schools. Ushio then reunited with Masaaki Yuasa for Devilman Crybaby in 2018. The same year, he worked again with Naoko Yamada on Leeds and the Bluebird, creating a delicate soundtrack shaped by footsteps, breath, and silence. In 2021, they collaborated again on the Ike story, and this time, Ushio also composed the ending as Agraph, at Yamada's explicit request. She wanted something personal, without compromise, and Ushio delivered. Their most recent collaboration, The Colors Within, in 2024, continues this creative bond, and here there is a special reference to his roots. Ushio paid tribute to Underworld with a beautiful cover of Born Sleepy. But now let's go back a few years for a moment to keep track of another of his collaboration. In 2020, he reunited with Masaaki Yuasa once again after his debut and Devilman Crybaby for Japan Sings, produced by Science Saru, a series often overlooked, much like Tengoku Daimakyo, for which Ushio composed the soundtrack in 2023, another criminally underrated work. Then, in 2024, he won Best Soundtrack at the Crunchyroll Anime Awards for Dangers in My Heart Season 2. He also celebrated 10 years as a cinematic composer and returned to Science Saru with one of my personal favorites, Dandadan. 2 seasons already, a third on the way for what I'm super excited for. Dandadan has chaos, occult, horror, aliens, romance, absurdity that Ushio translated into funk, disco, techno. Music that feels unhinged, colorful, alive. He saw visual madness and chose to be groovy. And those episodes with all the legendary classical composers in the music class, must watch for me. And now, the reason I made this video. Chainsaw Man. First of all, a moment of appreciation for his creator. My love for Tatsuki Fujimoto has only grown over the years. Look Back, the one-shots, Fire Punch, absolute masterpieces. I have to admit that way before the show aired, I was reading the manga, but when I heard MAPPA was adapting it, I decided to stop reading and wait for the anime adaptation. I am kind of glad I did. Chainsaw Man Season 1 has some of the best direction I have ever seen in anime. I rewatch episode 8 from time to time, and you should too. For this soundtrack, Ushio, I would say, updated his sampling process, working with a new tool. He found what he was looking for thanks to the work of the Sony Computer Science Laboratories, and in particular of a PhD student, Javier Nistal-Hurle, in the Paris office. Javier was working on a drum gun, a generative adversarial network capable of creating infinite sounds from scratch, thanks to an AI training dataset of 300,000 sounds. The project itself could have been considered just a brilliant and modern idea for a new drum machine with generative sounds, and that's exactly what happened. Drumgun was later bought by Steinberg, the big company known for the DAW Cubase. So you can now find the project under the name Backbone Drum Re Synthesizer. Instead of relying on the original dataset, Ikuko Matsusaka from Sony Computer Science Laboratories Tokyo Haruko Takanoa from Sony Music Publishing Tokyo and their team took action to collect samples for a new dataset made up just of chainsaw sounds. This allowed Kensuke to give free rein to his creativity, transforming the melodies and rhythms he imagined into chainsaw sounds. The result was Chainsaw Gun, an AI tool designed to transform melodies and rhythms written by Ushio into violent mechanical roars that feels as musical as their source. Ushio then chopped, stretched and distorted these sounds until they matched Denji's brutality. The director of the first season was Ryu Nakayama, who did not return as director in the movie. Honestly, I was a little bit worried, but Tatsuya Yoshihara, who also worked in the first season as action director, kept the bar incredibly high. Maybe with how action-heavy this arc is, it was even the right choice. We'll never know what Nakayama might have done. This is where Ushio takes everything to a whole new level. Usually the gap between seasons of shows like this is about a year, maybe two, but here we've waited from autumn 2022 until the end of 2025, last year. Time is usually the greatest enemy for creativity, but this time allowed both the incredible animation team and the audio to truly shine. If the movie made us fall in love and then left us heartbroken, it's largely thanks to its structure and composition. The film starts slow, almost like a slice of life, and we follow the date with Makima, and then we meet Reze. Denji was convinced his heart belonged to the fierce red-haired director, but now he doesn't know what to think anymore. Then we get to the specific date at the school, followed by the pool scene. And in a moment we're done. Us, Denji, Reze, everyone is caught in the spell. Ushio composes in the pool, bringing us back to a more classical world with a piano as the absolute center, with a small orchestra ensemble later. It's played in a mid to high register, as if the ground is intentionally being pulled out from under our feet. Without a solid bass line, the track never feels truly anchored. It remains fragile, unstable and vulnerable. There's a peak as the strings come in and the piano hits with a stronger dynamic. But it's a moment of openness, happiness and freedom. But then we're back. The piano returns to its solitude, the same one shared by Denji and Reze. They met just like all the sounds in the middle of the piece, but they ended up alone again, and the track closes with the same melody it started with. Ushio, later on in the movie, destroys us once again with what we could call the outro of the track, even if it's played in another moment of the film, and it's called In the Sea. The soundtrack is also filled with fast-paced beautiful techno songs during the action scenes, and everything is simply perfect. That's it for this time. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'd love to hear how you felt while watching the film, or if you've had similar experiences listening to Ushio's and other works. If you have suggestions for other composers, or if you like this format, let me know. Bye everyone, thanks for watching.